What's good, guys? Today I'm going to be breaking down UFC 298 Volkanovski versus Topuria, one of the most anticipated fight cards of the week, of the year actually, 2024. We're starting it off good. 297 was it was okay. We've had the last two main events. Joseph Pfeiffer versus Jack Hermanson was an awesome fraud check. Great card, great fight night card, but it's pay-per-view time. It's about time we get into the pay-per-views, boys. Let's start with the first fight of the night. We got Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick. I've studied Andrea Lee a lot. She sucks with her takedowns. She can't get the fight to the ground for shit. She's 35 years old. She's currently on a 3-loss streak. She's lost to Natalia Silva, who we just saw fight, Macy Barber, Viviana Arujo, which are all solid contenders. This is actually a very good. This is a good way to start off the card. I believe that this fight goes over 2.5. So if you guys see odds on over 2.5, that'll be perfect to hit. We have Miranda Maverick with a record of 12-5. She's 26 years old, currently on a 1-win streak. She beat Priscilla Cochiera, and I think Priscilla Cochiera is a very good win because that's how we could base where her opponent, where Priscilla's opponents are in like how elite they are based on how they do against Priscilla. I think of Priscilla Cochiera as like a gatekeeper, and if you do good against her, like a Neil Magny, I kind of compare her to. We can kind of see where you are in the division. She also lost to Macy Barber and Aaron Blanchfield. I believe that Aaron Blanchfield and Macy Barber, she put up a way better fight against them than her opponent did. Miranda Maverick is more of a lock. She's currently the favorite at minus 200. She's very good. She's very consistent. She lost by decision unanimous, and she lost by decision split. But to Macy Barber, she almost won that. I think she fights better against the tougher top echelon against the competition, and I think she gets it done this Saturday. And I think she gets it done by decision. Miranda Maverick by decision. Moving up the card, we got Val Woodburn versus Olban Elliott. This card is pretty good from top to bottom. We have Val Woodburn. If you guys don't know who this guy is, this is the guy who got knocked out by Bo Nickel in the first round. He smoked him. Bo Nickel just absolutely ran through him in this fight, and I thought that was a complete blowout. Considering that I thought at least Val Woodburn would at least last past the first round. Bo Nickel's a very good prospect. He got a couple of good wins, other than that one Bo Nickel loss. But look at the records that he's beating. I don't know if you can see this, but it says 30. The guy who he beat was 30-16. The guy who he beat right there was 17-8. This guy's 3-1, 3-1, 1-0, 0-2, and then 0-6. Like, these guys are complete tomato cans that he's beating, and I think his opponent Olban Elliott is more solid, and I think he's gonna beat him. I think if you guys are looking for odds on this fight, look for the over 1.5, but be careful because Val Woodburn is known to get knocked out in the first round. But over 1.5 looks a little bit juicy for this specific fight. He's beaten. He's sorry. Let me read his age. He's 26 years old, which sometimes with the younger fighters they have a little bit tougher time, starting off in the UFC because they're so young. But I think he's pretty good. He's currently on a 5-fight win streak, record 9-2-0, 6 foot. The only thing about Val Woodburn is Val Woodburn has long arms. Like if we look at his reach, this guy has a 72-inch reach, and Val Woodburn has it's reach. It's not there, but his reach is pretty long. It's pretty long considering he was able to like touch Bo Nickel up a little bit. But I'm going Olban Elliott, and I'm going Olban Elliott by KO. Second round. I'll go second round KO. Olban Elliott. Moving up the card, we got Josh Kunan versus Danny Barlow. This is gonna be a great fight. Josh Kunan, 6-1, age 31. He's lost his last fight. He's 6-1-0. He's 6 foot, and he's currently 99 in welterweight, which is pretty good. He had a cancel bout with Ange Losa. I wish we could have seen that fight just because I would have got a little bit more information on knowing like what type of fighter he is. And if we're just looking at this fight like as a whole, we don't. Sometimes the prelims are one of the most hardest fights to call or predict because we don't know a lot of information on these guys. He's fighting out of Nevada. Honestly, majority of his wins are by finish. So if he doesn't get the finish, he's gonna most likely lose by decision, like he lost against Trey Waters. I think Danny Barlow, he's undefeated. He's from the Dana White Contender Series. Left hand, left hand to God. That's his nickname. Which is a pretty cool nickname. Age 28, nine win streak, which is awesome. 6'2", reach 80. He's currently number 136 welterweight fighter in the world. I think he's gonna get the job done. He's gone longer when it comes to like actual fight time. He has a lot of quick finishes as well, but there's some subs in here too. Look like a Kimura. There's punches round one, round one. If you guys are looking for this fight is definitely not going the distance, which is something that I believe. I think Danny Barlow's gonna knock him out, and it could be a little bit of a tricky fight though, and it could go to decision. But I think somebody gets finished this fight, and I'm going Danny Barlow. Just because he's a Dana White Contender Series, and it's more, it's a little bit, Dana White Contender Series has more prospects, and that's basically what I'm basing all my information on. And I'm going Danny Barlow, even though he's undefeated, and sometimes that O can easily get erased. But Danny Barlow should be able to get the job done. Up the card, up the card. We got Ming Yang Zhang versus Brenson Rabiro. Ming Yang Zhang. Let me just show you guys a clip of Ming Yang Zhang striking. First, let's reach. He's age 35, currently on a 9-win streak. 6'2" with a reach of 75. He's pretty good. He's a prospect. He was supposed to be in the UFC like about a year ago, but he had a lot of canceled bouts. He had a canceled bout against his opponent, which is now Brenson Rabiro, which was in January, and then he had a canceled bout in 2023 against Tyson Pedro, and I think there's been a layoff. So sometimes when a fighter takes a long time and he's been out, he hasn't even made his debut yet. Like it's gonna be, well, he has made his debut. Sorry, he's made his debut. But what I think is he keeps his chin too much in the air. I'll show you guys his opponent, Brenson Rabiro. But before I show you his opponent, let me show you his striking. Me personally, I think his striking is not as good, and I think he's more worried about offense than he is about defense. He keeps his chin up in the air. He doesn't do that much of a good job of defending a lot of strikes that are coming back to him. He's just worried about getting you hurt and kind of not worried about what's coming back. And a fighter that's pretty skilled, like Brenson. Sorry, let me find the typology. Like Brenson Rabiro, this guy's an absolute killer. We know that he had a lot of fights where he had a fight where he was losing, and he actually ended up winning on the Dana. I don't know if I don't know where it was, but he actually ended up clutching like massively, and he's a knockout artist. I consider this guy more of a knockout artist, and he's more of a finisher, and he's currently an underdog. I'm gonna be going with Brenson Rabiro because I just think that he's more of a more complete striker, and he's faced tougher competition. And I think that if he catches Ming Yang Zhang's gonna go out. So my prediction is Brenson Rabiro by finish. I'm gonna go late third round by finish. Moving up the card, we got Rinya Nakamura versus Carlos Vera. If you guys know Carlos Vera, he's making his debut. Basically, they're feeding this guy to the wolves because somebody pulled out. I don't know who it was, but somebody pulled out against Rina. I'm not sure. I believe this is a short notice fight. We got this guy lost to Brad Katona, who we just saw Brad Katona lose. I believe it was on UFC 297. We have let me go back to Rinya. If you just look at Rinya, I saw him on Road to UFC. He's an absolute prospect. I see this guy as a future title contender, and he's a Japanese prospect. His nickname's the Hybrid. He's currently 28 years old, 5'7", currently on an 8-fight win streak. This guy is an absolute beast. But one thing that he has a lot of trouble in, I would consider, is his ability to finish opponents on the ground. Normally, he either finishes you by knocking you out, or he just grinds you to a decision. And you know, this is our first time seeing his opponent. I believe it's Carlos Vera, and it's either Carlos Vera is gonna get knocked out or he's gonna lose by decision. I'm going Rinya Nakamura by I think he's gonna put in a masterclass, and I think he's gonna beat him by decision. Rina Nakamura doesn't have that much of a good ability with like rear naked chokes, arm bars, submissions. You know, maybe he can get that a little bit better, but he's an amazing wrestler. And considering just looking at his Tapology picture, and also I saw him on Road to UFC. That guy just absolutely washed his opponent. Like that was a complete like wipeout, just like the Bo Nickel versus Val Woodburn. I think he's gonna absolutely dominate his opponent Carlos Vera. This is my most confident pick of the week, Rina Nakamura, and he's a Japanese prospect, 8-0. Moving up the card, we got Marcos Rodrigo de Lima versus Justin Tafa. Justin Tafa is currently an underdog. If you guys look at this fight, you know, just looking at this fight, some people are like, why is Justin Tafa an underdog? It's because considering that Marcos Rodrigo de Lima just came off of his loss against Derek Lewis. Um, let's just go over his stats. He's 38 years old, currently 21-9-1, one loss. His last fight was July 29, 2023. We have to take that into consideration, considering he got knocked out. And I saw an interview where he was saying that he was having struggle. He was having trouble eating because he broke a couple of his teeth. Considering he got hit with a flying knee against Derek Lewis, which was absolutely insane. First round, he beat Waldo Cortez Acosta, and then Andre Arlovski, which is crazy because Cortez Acosta beat Andre Arlovski too, but sorry, Cortez Acosta couldn't finish Andre Arlovski, but Roger De Lima finished him by rear naked choke, and that's what I'm basing. Like he has good jiu-jitsu. That's what I'm basing my prediction on. Considering that Justin Tafa, I've never seen him. You know, obviously he completely knocked out his opponent Austin Lane and Parker Porter. He's coming off of three KOs. He's 30 years old. He's the younger fighter, 6'0", 6 foot. Sorry, uh, and his last fight was September 9th, 2023. So it's a little bit more recent. So he's a little bit more active. And I just never seen Justin Tafa on the ground. I've never seen Justin Tafa on his back, and I think Justin Tafa gets taken down, and I don't know how he acts when he gets taken down. I don't know if he's good with his submission defense. All I know is that I know Rodrigo de Lima is going to be able to take him down, and all I'm going to say is Justin Tafa. I'm not betting on this fight. Justin Tafa is a perfect. He's a perfect underdog. If you guys see, he opened up as a much bigger underdog than he is now. Maybe by like Saturday it might be like even. But what I'm saying is that if you guys like Justin Tafa, this is a perfect underdog. But me personally, I'm going Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. Considering his background in BJJ, he's Brazilian. I think he's going to be able to submit Justin Tafa, and I think he submits him. He either submits him or grinds him out to a decision. I think he probably gets like a late finish or wins by decision. Rodrigo de Lima. All right, moving up the card, we got Amanda Lemos versus Mackenzie Dern. I have to take a drink of my lemonade after this because if you guys know Mackenzie Dern's last fight, it was against Jessica Andrade, and she got finished bad. I bet on Mackenzie Dern, and that was one of my worst bets ever, considering that Jessica Andrade wasn't. Her takedown defense was on point, and she actually ended up finishing her in the second round. One thing about Mackenzie Dern is she has great BJJ, but she sucks at getting the fight to the ground. She can pull out a submission out of nowhere. She can have great reversals. She can win by armbar, knee bar. Um, pull out like a rear naked choke, armbar. You know, she has a lot of versatility in her submissions, but she struggles to get the fight to the ground. And that's one of the biggest things. If you're a BJJ expert, you know, you got to get the fight to the ground, and that's one thing that she absolutely sucks at. And Amanda Lemos is she's 13-3, 36. That's another thing, you know, you take in consideration into the age, but I believe she's coming into her own right now. She's on a one loss streak. She lost to Zhang Weili, so I take absolutely no credit from like I don't take no shame in that, like losing to losing to Zhang Weili, sorry. Considering that Zhang Weili beat her by decision, obviously it was a complete shutout and she got wrestled and out wrestled crazy. But if you look at the way that they both lost to Jessica Andrade. She lost to Jessica Andrade round 1, arm triangle. I saw that fight, and that's when that's like honestly, you can't judge her by how she lost to Jessica Andrade, considering she's coming into she's coming into her own right now, and I think she's gonna beat Mackenzie Dern 30-27, and I think since she's got out grappled her last fight 5 rounds, she got controlled for so long. She was on the ground, she was on her back for so long, and she couldn't get back up. I think that's all she's going to be training, and I think that she's only going to be focused on, she's been only training wrestling since that. And for this camp, I think she's ready for Mackenzie Dern to take her down, and I think even if she gets taken down by Mackenzie Dern, she can get back up and put in the work on Mackenzie Dern. I don't see Mackenzie Dern as a reliable pick ever anymore, considering after how she lost to Jessica Andrade. Obviously, Jessica Andrade is a power puncher, but she was coming off of a skid, and I bet on Mackenzie Dern, and that was one of the worst bets that I've ever made. So when you guys look at this, look for the over 1.5. I think the over 1.5 would hit. If the odds aren't that juicy on the 1.5, um, over 2.5 is pretty good as well, but you have to take into consideration that Amanda Lemos can knock out Mackenzie Dern as well. But I'm going Amanda Lemos by decision. Moving up the card, we got Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. If you are a true UFC hardcore, you know this fight's a banger. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. This is gonna be crazy. Honestly, two prospects fighting early into their careers. Roman Kopylov, age 32, 4-fight win streak. He's 12-2-0. He's from Russia. He's 6 foot, 75-inch reach. He looks so good. He's beat his last opponent with a liver punch, round second. He beat Claudio Ribeiro with a head kick. I remember that. And then Ponili Soriano with punches. And then another win with punches. He's more of a knockout artist. He's very good with his body kicks, his teep kicks, his kicks to the side. He's good at moving laterally, and he's good at cutting off distance. And his finishing ability is very good. And his body kicks are also really good. One thing about Anthony Hernandez is he submitted Rodolfo Vieira, and if you guys know, Rodolfo Vieira fought Armin Petrosian last Saturday, and Rodolfo Vieira actually ended up submitting Armin Petrosian, and his win over Rodolfo Vieira has aged like a fine wine. In my opinion, we look at his stats. He's 30 years old, 6'0", 75-inch reach, so it's almost identical. Currently on a 4-fight win streak, which is actually crazy. His last fight was May 20th, 2023. We look at this. He's had a couple of canceled bouts. It's crazy because I did not expect him to finish Edmund Shabazian. He finished him in round 3, and that's kind of when I started to take like a closer eye on Anthony Hernandez. Sorry, I saw him beat Rodolfo Vieira, but I didn't think nothing of it. Because now I look at it as a good win, but I didn't really know who Rodolfo Vieira was back then. But after Marc-Andre Barrio fought Chris Curtis, now I kind of have a little bit of a better understanding. He submitted Marc-Andre Barrio, and Chris Curtis actually ended up beating Marc-Andre Barrio by decision. So it's crazy considering his BJJ is really good, and he finished Edmund Shabazian. Edmund Shabazian, we all thought was going to be a prospect until he fought Derek Brunson, and then he's been on this like skid. So maybe you can say Edmund Shabazian isn't the best win, but what I like about this is he can shoot relentless takedowns. He can just keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting, and I don't. We've seen Roman Kopylov fight wrestlers, and Roman Kopylov is a great underdog. I think he's a better underdog than Justin Tafa, and I think he has more of a chance to win, obviously, than Justin Tafa. But I think I don't know how he does if he continuously, we've seen him do very well against wrestlers, but Anthony Hernandez is really good. He's really good, and I'm gonna be favoring Anthony Hernandez, considering that even if Anthony Hernandez doesn't get the first takedown, he can shoot again and shoot again and shoot again, and he always has the submission threat there. It's just that Anthony Hernandez has to be careful with Roman Kopylov striking. One of the best strikers in his division. Like, middleweight has a lot of strikers. This is a guy you should keep an eye on. This guy is an absolute treat to watch. I won't be betting on this fight. I'll just be watching for fun, but this will be an absolute banger. But my official prediction: Anthony Hernandez by decision. I think he wins by decision. But don't take my opinion with a grain of salt, because Roman Kopylov is a beast. Moving up the card, Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. Guys, if you guys are up to this point of the video, guys, drop a like, guys. Guys, we will be dropping another video this Friday on a weigh-in recap, basically recapping how the fighters look on the scales and how they look on the face-offs. And basically, I'll be making my last and final predictions before Saturday. So tune into that. Make sure you keep subscribed. Make sure you have the bell. Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo, Triple C, number 9 versus number 2. This is a banger, bro. If you look at Merab Dvalishvili, he's coming off of he has a 9-fight win streak. He lost a grappling bout against Kevin Dantzler, but you shouldn't really take that into consideration, considering that it was a grappling bout and Kevin was just scooting. He was just butt scooting, and it doesn't really it just it shows on Tapology, but it doesn't show on the it doesn't take account into the UFC record. He beat I believe three former champs or 2 former champs. It's Peter Yan, Jose Aldo, former champ, Marlon Moraes, title contender, Cody Stamann, John Dodson. I think that Marlon Moraes fight really showed the Merab Dvalishvili's adversity, considering Marlon Moraes hurt him pretty bad, and Dvalishvili was still able to get the second round ground and pound TKO, which was absolutely amazing. I thought after Dvalishvili got caught, I thought he was going to get finished, but he showed that he's relentless in his takedowns, and he's a guy who has an amazing gas tank. Like, expect this guy to be shooting like almost like 5 times around on Henry Cejudo. The thing about Henry Cejudo is they're going to be the same size. I think Dvalishvili is going to be a little bit more filled out. He's going to be a little bit more bigger. Dvalishvili can't make flyweight. Henry Cejudo was able to make flyweight, and I know Henry Cejudo's been bulking, but he's 5'6", 33, record 16-4-0, 9-fight win streak. His last fight was March 11, 2023. It showed a lot. He beat Peter Yan, and I thought that fight was a little boring, but it showed Dvalishvili's cardio. Like, his cardio is absolutely insane, and the fact that this fight is 3 rounds gives Henry Cejudo more of a chance to go all out within 15 minutes. But I think Henry Cejudo's wrestling is not as good as it used to be, considering Aljamain Sterling was able to take him down because of the fence. Aljamain Sterling does a lot of these goofy tricks where he puts his hands on the mat, and he was moving his head, and Cejudo was like, Aljamain was basically stalling, and Cejudo was like not punishing Aljo enough. And I think Prime Cejudo would have been punishing Aljo like a little bit harder, and he beat Dominic Cruz, and that was like a little cheeky knee, so you can pay attention to that, because he will be looking for the knee against Dvalishvili, considering Dvalishvili, he's very telegraphed with his takedowns. He shoots from like sometimes across the cage, so you can kind of see that Henry Cejudo can try to look for like a KO, but I think Henry has to hurt Dvalishvili in order to win this fight. He needs to gain Dvalishvili's respect, because if he doesn't, Dvalishvili is just going to keep on shooting and shooting and shooting. Henry Cejudo just recently fired his coach.
I hate second place, but I know the mistakes that I made.
He just fired his coach, Eric Dixon.
I just want to talk to you and like the whole team, man. Well, you're with me for my last Olympic trials. You've been there for me.
This is very important.
Now, I just want to let you know, man, that for this camp, dude, I'm getting rid of specific coaches, man. Much you included, dude. Sometimes you're too
very
close to
important,
somebody, and people just get too comfortable.
The goal has always been the same.
Focus.
This means that Henry Cejudo is willing to do whatever it takes to win that fight, and you have to pay attention to that, considering Henry Cejudo knows that he has 15 minutes, and this favors him. This favors him against, like, he has more of a chance than Peter Yan did. He has more of a chance than most of Marab's opponents because Henry Cejudo has more of a blueprint. And Henry Cejudo is a all-time American Olympic champ wrestler. But I think when it's cage wrestling, it's a little bit different than Olympic wrestling because cage wrestling, you know, they rely on the cage, and sometimes it's a little bit easier to take you down when there's a cage behind you, considering that that's the like they know that that's where you're like. Sometimes it could be easier to get up off the cage, but it's also sometimes easier to get people down with the cage. And Marab Davashvili is somebody who can definitely, definitely take down Cejudo using the cage. He can also shoot from the middle, but I think it's going to be a 29-28. I think Henry Cejudo has to hurt him. He has to hurt Davashvili bad, and in order to do that, you have to implement your striking enough to the point where he respects it and he doesn't just shoot, just shoot, just shoot, just shoot. Because with Peter Yan, he was just shooting, shooting, shooting because Yan got tired, and Henry Cejudo cannot get tired for this fight. I'm gonna be going Davashvili 29-28. This is a fight that you can go over 1.5. This most likely goes to decision. And may the best man win. This is gonna be a very good fight. I think this is gonna be a banger. This is gonna be an absolute banger. Cejudo has to take into consideration that he's 37. And this is gonna be his last run, or like maybe he has like one more good run, but to the title. But he has to. He did a lot of work with removing his coaches and implementing a new style of game. So he's gonna maybe come back with like a little bit more of like a different style, maybe the karate style. I think to open up for the knee, but I think Davashvili is just gonna win 29-28. I'm just scared that Davashvili gets caught, but considering Davashvili has only got caught once, and that's by obviously Marlon Moraes, who's an excellent striker. It's very rare that maybe he'll get caught. But Davashvili also has incredible recovery rate. So even if he gets caught, you know, he can shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And that's why I think Marab's going to win. But keep a close eye on Triple C, man. You can never doubt Triple C, man. Triple C's a goat. Sorry. Triple C is a goat, man. That guy one of like the only two division champs. Like there's only like single digit number. I think it's 8 two division champs, and he's one of them. But I think this division is more elite than when he left it, which was crazy considering he only left the division like 2 years ago. But the division moves fast, and I think it's too elite now. And we'll see. We'll see how this goes, though. Moving up the card, Jeff Neal versus Ian Machado Gary. With all the things that have been going on with Ian Gary, and like a lot of people calling him out, and like him privating his Twitter, and a lot of people say it's deserved because he called out Neil Magny, and like Neil Magny's a veteran who you respect, and he called Neil Magny like a guy who beats his children during a custody battle, but it's okay because it's the fight game. You got to trash talk. But I think Ian Gary Machado. There's a video on YouTube where it's like Ian Gary Machado like getting hit on the chin. Like how many times can Ian Gary Machado like just a like a montage of Ian Gary getting caught on the chin. Just watch this video. Ian Gary haters seem to like this video. Just watch that video, and it shows like how many times he gets caught on the chin. Obviously, he's undefeated and he's beat his last. He's beat all of them. He's on a 13. He's on a 13 fight win streak. Technically a 17 fight win streak. And he's 26. He's very young. 6'3", but 74-inch reach. He has pretty short arms compared to his reach. His arms are pretty short. That's like McGregor reach, and McGregor's like 5 inches shorter than him, or like even 6. But what I'm saying is that that leads him to get caught sometimes because he tries to play the outside game, but he gets caught in the inside too much, or like he gets caught on the cage. And somebody like Jeff Neal, you do not want to get caught up against because he got hurt he was losing against Jordan Williams, and then he comes back with a counter right obviously he was losing the beginning of the round against Jordan Williams. He got a little bloody, and then he caught him, and it's over. But he struggled a little bit, and then Darian Weeks, he had a little bit of trouble with, and then Kenan Song, he got dropped by Kenan Song. I don't know if it was the first or second. I think it was the second round, and he was able to recover. But Kenan Song is one of those guys that he's like a tomato can. And if you're getting caught by Kenan Song and you're getting hit on the chin by Kenan Song and Kenan Song is dropping you, if Neal, if Jeff Neal hits you, like I know he had a canceled bout. Ian Gary was supposed to fight at 296, and he pulled out because supposedly he had pneumonia. I don't think it was true. I don't think he had pneumonia. I think he just he got a lot of hate during that fight week, and I just think that he didn't want to fight that fight week against Vicente Luque. And Vicente Luque, I actually was going with, but I think Neil Magny, I mean not Neil Magny, Jeff Neal has more of a chance to beat Ian Gary than Vicente Luque does. MMA math doesn't work a lot of the time, but considering that Jeff Neal finished Vicente Luque and made his, he gave him like a brain hemorrhage and he made him bleed from his brain. Um, I think Jeff Neal is a way better opponent for Ian Gary, and we can basically tell where Ian Gary is judging by how he does against Jeff Neal. Taking into consideration that Jeff Neal beat last fight was against Shavkat. That was a crazy fight. Jeff Neal, I don't think he gets KO'd. That's one thing about it. I don't think he gets finished by Ian Gary. Ian Gary, I don't consider Ian Gary as a knockout artist because there's a little bit of decisions in there, and he tends to like KO, lower level of competition, but once it gets a little bit higher in competition, Ian Gary kind of struggles to finish the opponent. I think that Shavkat fight was an awesome fight. The fact that Shavkat wasn't able to take down Jeff Neal shows that his takedown defense is on point. Um, and Jeff Neal got hurt. He got hurt in that fight, and he was able to recover. And one thing about Jeff Neal is he has great recovery. Machado Gary has a very high guard, and he leaves his body open. And I think that that's gonna leave a lot of openings to like the body kicks or like punches to the body, and then like set up like the thing is Ian Gary just has to move laterally, but I think he struggles with that, and I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I actually have no idea. I know Ian Gary's gonna be heavy with the kicks. He's gonna be heavy with the side kick, side kick, side kick. Set up the question mark kick. The thing is though, Neal is so much of a beast, and the fight with Shavkat actually made me like it rose his stock up instead of like some people when they lose their stock goes down, but after that loss I think his stock went up. And I think if anybody's gonna finish Ian Gary, it's somebody like Jeff Neal, and it's hands of steel Neal. 5'11", his reach is 75, so he actually is shorter than Ian Gary and has a longer reach. Not that obviously matters considering it's only 1 inch, but he's 33. You have to take that into consideration, considering that I was thinking that he was a little bit older than he actually is. He's pretty young, and I think Jeff Neal, he either loses by decision, but he's an underdog, or KOs Ian Gary. I'm gonna go Jeff Neal, and I'm gonna go by KO. I think he KOs Ian Gary, probably second round. But you could always bet on Ian Gary, and over 1.5 looks pretty good for this fight as well. I'm gonna be doing a Friday weigh-in recap video, so I might make a pick flip. But for right now, I'm going Jeff Neal, and the reason is basically because of I think Machado Gary gets finished by Shavkat faster than Neal did. And I know MMA math, you can't base everything on MMA math, but Stephen Wonderboy Thompson got taken down, and then he got submitted like faster than Jeff Neal, and I thought Wonderboy Thompson was going to do a better job in the striking department than Jeff Neal, but Wonderboy Thompson's takedown defense failed him, and Jeff Neal's takedown defense is on point. Like it's like Jeff Neal's coming into his own, and if Jeff Neal's on every time he locks in, against Bilal Muhammad, against Vicente Luque. Every time, he has to fight somebody of the top echelon of the division, he always puts on a good performance. So no matter what, this is going to be a banger fight. And, I'm going Jeff Neal, but I'm not going to bet on this fight. But if you are, can't go wrong with over 1.5. And then we got Robert Whitaker against Paulo Costa. Robert Whitaker, Robert the Reaper Whitaker. This guy is one of my favorite fighters, man. This guy is 33 years old. He's coming off of one loss against DDP. His last fight was July 8th, 2023. Middleweight division. Middleweight division is kind of getting it's kind of getting good. Middleweight division was kind of stale for a little bit, but now it's getting really good. He's 24-7. He beat Marvin Vettori. I think one of his best performances was against Marvin Vettori. Israel Adesanya lost by decision. Kelvin Gastelum, Jared Cannonier, Darren Till. Let's just look at these guys. Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum, and Marvin Vettori. They were all bigger than Whitaker, and they all like had more of a bigger frame than Whitaker, and Whitaker was able to be faster. And the fight against Darren Till was amazing, considering that Darren Till landed an elbow and on Whitaker's chin, and Whitaker was still able to come back and win the whole fight by unanimous decision. And Darren Till did pretty good against DDP. He actually hurt DDP. Obviously, that was a long time ago, though. That was all the way in 2020, which is crazy. Jared Cannonier was also an amazing fight. And then Kelvin Gastelum, absolute clinic. I believe he won 5-0. Like, he won 5-0. But what I'm going to say is I'm going Whitaker. And the reason why I'm going Whitaker is because I think he's going to be faster than Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, this was supposed to be scheduled, like, before, like Paulo Costa and Whitaker, but it got canceled. And then Kelvin Gastelum showed up. But if Paulo Costa shows up to this fight, it's because he thinks he's gonna win. The pullout merchant, Paulo Costa, I think he should get cut from the UFC if he loses or if he pulls out from this fight. Not if he loses. If he loses, he shouldn't get cut. But if he pulls out again, I think he should get cut from the UFC. He's Borrachina. 32 years old. His last fight was against Luke Rockhold all the way in 2022. He pulled out against Ikram Aliskerov and he pulled out against Hamza Chimaev. I would have loved to see how he would have done against Hamza Chimaev because that would have been able to tell me a little bit more about this fight. But maybe he would have gotten. Maybe we didn't know. He did good against Yoel Romero. What I don't like is his Luke Rockhold win was terrible. He should have been able to finish Luke Rockhold, and he wasn't able to finish Luke Rockhold. I know it was in higher elevation, but that fight was sloppy. That fight was way too sloppy, and for a guy like Whitaker, a lot of people are saying, oh, Paulo Costa could just land that one shot, and just completely knock him out, and just completely wash him. Whitaker's too chinny, and Whitaker is his chin is a little bit suspect, but who's more defensively sound? Who's going to be more quicker? Who evades? Like one thing about Paulo Costa with his Luke Rockhold, he wasn't able to cut distance. He did a terrible job at cutting distance, and he did a terrible job at like following Luke Rockhold. He was getting hit by high kicks that were like telegraphed. Like obviously, I'm watching the fight, but you can see that the high kick is coming, and like somebody like Luke Rockhold should not be able to go to the decision with a guy like Paulo Costa. And if Paulo Costa can't, obviously MMA math doesn't work, but if he can't finish Luke Rockhold, you guys got to be careful because I think Whitaker's going to be faster than him, and I think he's going to surprise. Whitaker's going to surprise Costa with his speed and his head movement and the way he evades. If this is prime Whitaker, which I believe it is, because considering that he does not want to lose to Paulo Costa, he came off of a camp losing off of DDP, which he himself says that he thinks that he beats DDP 9 times out of 10, but I don't think that. I just think that he's a little bit better than Paulo Costa. That's all I'm going to say. I think he's a little bit better than Paulo Costa, and that's going to be enough to win by decision. 29-28, Whitaker. And don't be surprised if you see that 1-2 head kick land. All right. Main event time. Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria. Volkanovski, 35 years old. 26-3-0. One loss. Last fight, October 21st, 2023. That's way too soon, in my opinion. He was supposed to fight at UFC 297 against Ilia Topuria, which I thought that was even earlier. He stepped in on short notice against Islam Makhachev. He ended up signing a new contract when he stepped in against short notice against Islam Makhachev, which actually ended up, maybe giving him better deals for his future fights. But that was not one of the smartest ideas to step in on short notice against Islam, considering that was one of your most hardest fights to go up against. I thought Volk was gonna win the second fight. I don't know why. I just had a feeling, but he ended up getting KO'd brutally in the first round, and like his head was bouncing off of like Islam's knee, and that was terrible. And that's not one of those losses where it's like where Izzy got KO'd against Pereira in the fifth round where he was standing up. It's like one of those losses like Usman against Leon, and Usman gets flatline KO'd in the fifth round, and Usman wasn't able to retain his belt, and he took the fight like he did an immediate rematch. I think there's a stat that's going around where it's like from men's division from 125 to 155, nobody over the age of 35 has defended successfully or um, won a UFC championship from flyweight to lightweight. Obviously, welterweight we had Usman, who was 35 years old, and he was actually an awesome champion. But I think the two factors that, because look, if you take out the second Islam fight and we look at the after he beat Yair Rodriguez, we look at that fight and we saw them face off. I was like, Volk is gonna completely wash Topuria. He's gonna completely. There's levels to this, but if you look at the Rodriguez fight, look at the Max Holloway fight, and just look at like the three Max Holloway fights, which I watched all of them. I rewatched all of them. Volk is a little bit better when he's countering, when the guy's coming to him and he's countering. If we look at Volk on a full camp, I don't count the short notice because it was he didn't even have a full training camp. But look at all of Volk's fights on a full training camp. He struggled the most against Max Holloway in the second fight where he got hit with a head kick. I believe it was at the end of round one, and he got a little stunned, and then he had to basically win 3, 4, and 5. And other than the Islam Makhachev fight, that's a fight that he looked the worst in. Obviously, he looked good, but that was one of the fights where he looked the worst in. And then the third Max Holloway fight, he looked better because he won the first 2 rounds, and then he was coasting, allowing Max Holloway to come to him, and then countering. And I think Volk does a little bit better when he's up the rounds and he's coasting, and then he's allowing the guy to come to him. Like Yair, he made Yair come to him. He made Max Holloway come to him. After landing his shots. But imagine if Topuria, is winning the first 2 rounds. It's gonna be a little bit harder for Volk to come 3, 4, and 5. I think you have to take into consideration that Volk has never lost at featherweight. The featherweight GOAT, the absolute best featherweight of all time, is Volkanovski. But the two factors are his chin and his age. And those are the two factors that I'm basing my prediction on. And I'm going to go Ilia Topuria. And the reason why I'm going Ilia Topuria is because against Josh Emmett, his last fight against Josh Emmett, he beat him on the scorecards 50-44, 50-42, 49-45. And we saw Josh Emmett last get KO'd. He KO'd Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett. And I think it's more impressive if Ilia Topuria can dominate Josh Emmett for 5 rounds, a power puncher like Josh Emmett for 5 rounds, than just knocking him out in the first round. And a guy like Ilia Topuria, he's not gonna do what Max Holloway did. He's not gonna do like where Max Holloway was cut open and then Max Holloway was just chasing him. Like Ilia Topuria is gonna stay heavy on the kicks. He has never thrown a body kick or a head kick in his life, but they're both susceptible to head kicks. Look at his fight against Jai Herbert. He got hit with a high kick against Jai Herbert. He obviously was able to win that fight, but he got stunned bad. He got dropped bad against Jai Herbert. And Jai Herbert's one of those tall guys who found the head kick, and Volk, he got hit with a head kick. So they both have that head kick weakness. I think this is gonna be more of a look at Ilya Topuria's first 6 wins. They're by submission. Triangle, rear naked, guillotine, mounted guillotine, anaconda, triangle, and then he started to become more of a striker. He was a grappler. I saw him on the countdown. He was more of a grappler, and then he, got comfortable with the striking. And I think that that's something that's different from Yair and Max, and obviously Korean Zombie. Um, Yair, I don't know. I rewatched the fight. Yair got hit with a headbutt. Obviously Volk was able to finish Yair, but there was a point where Yair, Volkanovski headbutted. I don't. It might have not been purposely. Obviously, it wasn't purposely, but he headbutted Yair, and Yair got a little stunned from it, and it kind of changed the momentum of the fight. And that's something that's not gonna happen to Topuria because they're the same height, and I think Volk struggles with fighters that are the same height as him. I know he's never lost at featherweight, but if Volk if Volk's gonna lose to somebody, it's gonna be somebody the same size as him. And I know it kind of doesn't make sense because some people are thinking, if you could stay outside, you can have more of a better chance. But I think Topuria has one of the best chances to beat Volkanovski, considering he's coming off of the KO loss, which is October. That wasn't that long ago. Rescheduled it till February. And the fact that Volk is 35 years old. Volk is one of those dudes that I love, bro, and I hate choosing against him. Maybe I might make a pick flip on Friday, but I'm going Volkanovski. I'm going Topuria. I think he's gonna drop Volk, and I think he might win by decision. But it's gonna be close. All I know it's gonna be close, and this is gonna be one of those fights where you do not want to miss it. You do not want to miss this fight. This is the most anticipated fight that I've been waiting for months. I was waiting for this fight since before the Islam fight. I didn't know Volk was gonna take the fight on short notice. And even then, I was still hyped. I was like, Volk can still lose and he can still come back in January. But nobody, or I didn't expect Volk to get finished like that. And that type of loss, is damaging and detrimental to the rest of your career. Like you can't just, obviously, if anybody could do it, it's Volk. But if you're gonna bounce back off of a loss, it's definitely not against Topuria. Topuria is an absolute killer, and he will not let Volkanovski coast. Because that's what Max Holloway did, and Yair and Korean Zombie, they let Volkanovski coast. Where, like they play his game, play it at his pace, and they're chasing him. And Topuria is the guy where he can be an excellent counter striker and counter you to the point where Volk has to catch up, and Volk has to play the catching up game. And I think that that's what's going to be a big factor in this fight, and I think Topuria I think he gets the nod, and I think he wins by decision. And new, baby. I'm sorry. I love Volk, man. I love Volkanovski, bro. I would love for him to win this fight. I'm going to be watching this, eating popcorn, nervous as hell. Guys, this is it. Leave a like, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video. Keep subscribed, guys. Hit the notification bell, guys. I'm going to be coming back with another video on Friday. Weigh-in recap. We look at the video. We look at how the fighters do on the scale. We look at the face-offs, after the press conference. We get to watch all this. And we get blessed by UFC 298 on Saturday, guys. Do not miss this fight, guys. Leave a like on this video, guys. I love you guys. Stay safe. Enjoy the fights. And I'll see you guys in the next one.